What's up, everybody? Nigerians are badging Stanley Enow on the internet for something that happened a while ago. They wouldn't even let this guy mourn his dad. On this edition of the show, I dive into that topic and give you details of what's going on as far as this is concerned in our entertainment industry. Don't go anywhere. This is another edition of Stitching, and you know how it is. We weave stories for you, stitch by stitch. Before we start the show, we just want to give our condolences to Stanley Enow, one of Cameroon's biggest artists, and of course, one of those people that has put our country on the map, no doubt. Well, moving away from that, Stanley Enow is being badged on the internet by Nigerians and on Nigerian blogs for something that he said a while ago at some event, even though Stanley Enow has said, yeah, he can't really say much. But what really happened as far as this is concerned? Some years back, Stanley Enow was at an event and the DJ kept playing Nigerian music. I needed to know that the DJ kept playing Nigerian music, and Stanley Enow walked to the place where the DJ was and told the DJ, yo, bro, I respect you very much, but please stop playing Nigerian music the whole occasion. That was some time ago. Important to note. Well, recently that video has resurfaced online. Has it resurfaced only with Stanley Enow's video? Of course not. There's also CY International Comedian or CY Comedian International. Yes, of course, that's the name, CY Comedian International, who was also saying that they should stop Nigerian music completely from playing in Cameroon. I mean, those are completely two different videos, of course, with completely two different stories and completely two different sense if you look at it. And that's why I'm doing this show, to give it a narrative before it is misinterpreted, if it has not already been misinterpreted. And so don't blink a wing as we give you all the little tiny bits of everything that's going on, because I'm going to take it as detailedly as possible as far as this is concerned.
No to Nigerian music in Cameroon. We are tired of your greed.
La Merveille, I respect you, I love you. Jean-Yves, I love you. DJ René, I love you. DJ Willie, I love you, but please stop playing Nigerian music in parties for hours and hours and hours. You gotta stop doing that, you know what I mean? Stop doing that. Thank you so much.
First things first, it is important to note that for the past years, Cameroon has been having a conversation that has to do with 80-20. In real sense, it is not 80-20 per se, but to give perspective to it, what does 80-20 mean? I think that I have said it in this show, time without number, but I'm going to give you perspective again. 80-20 is about art. It's a regulatory system that artists and other people in the Cameroon entertainment industry was talking to the Ministry of Arts and Culture to regulate the way foreign art. When I'm talking about art, I mean this 80-20 is not just about music, but it's about everything art, okay? Which is music, movies, and anything that has to air, of course, on TV and other platforms. So the 80-20 rule was a regulatory, that was something that was presented to the government to regulate the amount of foreign content that is being played in Cameroon over the local content. What does that mean? 80 is for local content, and this regulatory system was supposed to put a form in place or a contract or a statement in place that says that 80% of local music was supposed to play in Cameroon over just 20% of foreign music, you know? I needed to understand that this 80-20 rule, again, has nothing to do with individuals, but this is more about corporate bodies, organizations, and entities. And what am I talking about? This rule signifies that the amount of songs or music that is supposed to play on TV should comprise of 80% Cameroonian music, or 80% Cameroonian movies, or 80% Cameroonian created content that could run from documentaries or comedy shows or whatever. So if it's airing on TV, it's got to be 80% Cameroon. If there's going to be any other movies or music that is playing that is not of Cameroon origin, it should just comprise of 20% of what is going on air. And this translates right down to the restaurants and bars and hotels and stuff and public places. Of course, if they're going to play any music in these public places, including nightclubs, restaurants, and bars, it has to comprise of 80% Cameroon music or 80% Cameroon content, and of course the 20% has to do with foreign content. It is important to note again that this 80-20 has nothing to do with Nigeria as a whole. It has everything to do with foreign music. It has nothing in itself to do with Nigeria as a whole. This 80-20 rule is a rule that is specific to Cameroon culture, okay? The reason why I keep saying that this has nothing to do with Nigeria is because for over the years when this conversation started coming up and making trends and turns on social media, I think that Nigerians kind of take it to heart every time, and they're thinking, you know, this conversation is about them, but it's really not about you. I'm sorry to bash about, but this is not a conversation about Nigeria. This is a conversation about Cameroon and how music and content has to be perceived in Cameroon. Now, let's talk about Nigeria, for example. Over the years, Nigerians' music and content, and when I'm talking about Nigerian music, or it's kind of limiting. Nigerian music and movies has saturated the atmosphere in Cameroon, and that's totally understandable. Nobody has a problem with that, because especially at the individual level. Let's not even just talk about the music and the movies, but culture even. Some slangs that are made by Cameroonians, basically Nigerians. Weddings that happen in Cameroon, Nigerian weddings, and we love it. Amazing colors. It is important to note that Nigeria shares borders with Cameroon. Nigeria shares borders with Cameroon. One of the closest, of course, of the people to Cameroon is Nigeria. In fact, the culture of these two countries are very similar. In fact, to show how similar Cameroon is to Nigeria, let me take you down history for a bit, because you probably don't realize our cultures, of course, are totally very much in sync. A United Nations referendum was held in the British Cameroon 11 February. When I'm talking about British Cameroon, of course, I'm talking about the part of Cameroon that was colonized by the British, because Cameroon was colonized by British and French. So in 1961, they determined whether the territory should join neighboring Cameroon or Nigeria. Yes, these British people wanted a referendum where they made a determination whether people from this English-speaking part of Cameroon should join French Cameroon or they should join Nigeria. It's important to note that many of these people voted to join Nigeria. If I must say, a good percentage of the people voted to join Nigeria. And of course, some joined French Cameroon, which is now the Republic of Cameroon. In every sense of it, Nigeria and Cameroon are related in every way. And when I'm talking about relationship, I'm not just talking about random Mother Africa kind of relationship that was sisters. No, I'm talking about the fact that we're related by culture and many other things. And it explains why we consume a lot of Nigerian music over any other country in Africa or in the world. It's just normal. We can relate to the movies that Nigerians make. We can relate to the music that Nigerians make. They make amazing music, no doubt about that. This is what has been happening for over the years. I'm talking about scenes from the black and white TV when Jaguar was being made remember as Jaguar? Jaguar was movies, one of the first Nigerian movies back in the days. And Cameroonians were already consuming that. And I know that many Nigerians think that Cameroon is French infested, but no. Cameroon is very bilingual, English and French-speaking people who understand Nigeria and its pidgin. One pidgin might not be the same, but it's similar in every form of it. And like I said at the beginning, some of the slangs that Nigerians use, we do use it too, you know. Cameroon in itself is described as Africa in miniature. It means that it has a little bit of all the cultures that surround all the countries in Africa. You are going to have a feel of every place in Africa. You come to Cameroon, you're going to have a feel of that. Especially again that he has this mixture of languages and cultures. The Igbos, the Yorubas, they have been in Cameroon for a long time. And they still do business here, and it's amazing to have them. And how infested they are in business. They are so similar to the Bamileke and the way they take business. We are so similar in every form. So we consume your music because we relate with it. Cameroonian movie directors and artists have collaborated with Nigerians easily because of this shared culture. In fact, is Nigerian music the most streamed music in Cameroon? Of course not. It's going to shock you to know, but of course not. Over the past years, Fally Ipupa has been the most streamed artist in Cameroon for the years. Yes, Fally Ipupa, the Congolese, Tikapla Meve, the guy who shut down France recently, has been the most streamed artist for over the years in Cameroon for over and so many years. And it is important for you to note that same Fally Ipupa is going to be headlining a show in Cameroon in Douala come December. And again, other Cameroonian artists did not find that funny because the entity or the organization that is calling Fally Ipupa to come to Cameroon and perform and headline this show is the only government-owned telecommunications network called Camtel. And artists don't see it funny that, oh, this is a taxpayers, government-owned entity. How is it that it's a foreign artist that is headlining the show in Cameroon? Again, remember, this conversation is not about Nigeria. Before it is twisted and turned over, I think that it's a whole regulatory policy that is in Cameroon about art and the way art is perceived and the way local talent is promoted, that Cameroonians are disgruntled at. So don't get it twisted. I don't know about you, and I understand that some of these entities are businesses and they're looking for who has the highest numbers to promote their stuff, but sometimes numbers, again, are not as important as the growth of the community. Now, let's revisit the videos that we watched at the beginning. CY International. In 2020-2021, Naira Marley was invited to come to Cameroon by an event organizer to come perform. CY Comedian International reportedly went and reported this concert to the dignitaries of the locality, the DO, or was it the governor? And his reason was that Naira Marley does not promote good values for the youth and all of that, and he cannot perform, and they have to ban him from coming around. Lo and behold, this show was cancelled. Naira Marley came to Cameroon and could not perform for that reason. Again, it is important to note that this was pushed on the internet as a narrative of 80-20, but it really wasn't. This had to do with values and stuff, which I don't know who determines who is a better value or who gives better value to the community, given how crazy content is being pushed out now and the kind of content that makes heat waves and hits the TV and media platforms. But I don't know who determines what is right and wrong these days. But yeah, that's why Naira Marley was banned from Cameroon. It's because this guy, this comedian of a guy, went and reported that Naira Marley does not bring good values, you know? So they got and shut down the show. Are you understand what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So his music, his concert was banned here. And this guy, CY, went ahead because for some reason, I don't understand what happened, that blogs took on the story so much, including the Nigerians. I think that there was the media attention that came on, and he went online to start saying what he was saying. That Nigerian music cannot play in Cameroon, or we don't want Nigerian music here, which was ridiculous. That is a completely crazy narrative. He says don't play Nigerian music, but only a clown or comedian can say that because, well, he's a comedian. And sometimes I want to look at it like clowning, but that was serious. And I think that was really overstepping. Because that is not, again, our narrative. The 80-20 narrative has nothing to do with Nigerian music not playing in Cameroon. Of course, again, Nigeria is our brother, probably the closest brother that we have in Africa. It is important for you guys to note that as far as Cameroon is concerned, even though we are not running things and making music run the market spaces of Nigeria, Cameroon is also winning in Central Africa. When it comes to Central Africa, Cameroon is exporting one of the highest music. Okay. It's important for you guys to note that. And we can't go around and start saying we are not going to play Nigerian music, which is ridiculous. Because again, we are collaborating with Nigerians. Why are we collaborating with Nigerians if we don't want their music? This is not an enmity thing. And it's not like we're not winning in some other parts of Africa. We too are winning. We can't go and start saying, oh, they cannot play Cameroonian songs in central parts of Africa, which would be ridiculous, because that's not going to be good. In fact, I personally hate the whole idea of segregation and stuff that says, oh, we don't want these people of this country when all of us are Africans and we're of African origins and we're all related in some way. This is not what this conversation is about, and I want to clarify that before I dive into Stanley Enow and why the internet is taking this out of context. Prince Michael Enobi is one of the people that brought Naira Marley that year where he was banned from Cameroon. Enobi has also been responsible for bringing the likes of Davido for concerts in Cameroon. That of Davido held, of course, it happened around 2017, 2018. Yes, that held. And that's not the first time Davido has been to Cameroon. He was recently in Cameroon and highly and warmly welcome. That's going to be a story for another day, because we have a story for you as far as that is concerned. You know, we have had the likes of P-Square and many Nigerians have performed here. Omale is going to be here this December and people can't wait. In fact, Zazu was here in Cameroon, Portable was here in Cameroon and was received and hailed. Guys, it is important to note that same Enobi, Prince Michael came online and was calling this CY International comedian as a canker worm and saying that CY International or CY comedian, I'm so sorry, I can't even get that name right because sometimes I just feel like I should put clown somewhere. But CY comedian, he calls him a canker worm because of how and the perspective with which he put the fight. The whole thing about regulating how we consume our content has nothing to do with banning Nigerian music in Cameroon. That's far from the point, and anybody who says that is not part of our industry. And by the way though, will you take a clown so seriously? And that's why I'm making this show right now. You know, our goal is not to ban Nigerian music from Cameroon. And Enow is totally right when he says that this guy is a canker one, because of course it is because of these initial utterances that of Stanley Enow has been blown out of proportion. Yes, this is going on right now. We have people like MC Charlene, who is another person who spoke about this. But trust me, guys, her opinion, I just feel like this is some cloud chasing stuff, because where was she all this while to come and now say, hey, you people should leave Nigerians out of this? People who just want to be seen. Are you trying to get in the good books of Nigeria or what? What do you mean by leave Nigeria out of this? Do you even understand the context? I don't like it when people come and take opportunities like this and begin to cloud chase. Just clearly rubbish to me. Now let's dive into what Stanley Enow said. Watch it right here.
La merveille, I respect you, I love you. Jean-Yves, I love you. DJ René, I love you. DJ Willie, I love you. But please stop playing Nigerian music in parties for hours and hours and hours. You gotta stop fucking doing that. You know what I mean? Stop fucking doing that. Thank you so much.
Stanley Enow did not say he does not want Nigerian music from playing at events. He said he does not want Nigerian music from playing at events the whole time. You cannot play Nigerian music at an event the whole time in Cameroon. It is not right. I don't even care if you're a Nigerian watching this video right now. And man, come on, man. Stanley Enow was even at the event, and he has a wide range of songs, catalog of music, and his song barely played at the event. Even the DJ who was doing it did not have respect enough. It's important to know that when an artist enters an environment, I mean, just for courtesy reason, the DJ in charge, we just want to play his songs just so people can vibe, and he can vibe with the people and his fans. Even his song wasn't playing like that. Just for the record, this was years ago. This was like 2021, okay, when these conversations about 80-20 rule was just being blown out of proportion. There is no place that Stanley Enow said that he does not want Nigerian music. Of course, the Stanley Enow that we talk about is one of the artists in Cameroon that has done the highest collaborations with Nigerians, Mr. Easy and Davido. He has done collaborations with these two. He even did a collaboration with Ice Springs in his first album. And yes, there's no way possible that he can do these collaborations and come online to say, don't play Nigerian music. So what happens to the music that he collaborated with the others with? Doesn't make sense. And I know that sometimes the internet likes to blow things out of proportion, and this is really one of them. It is crazy because they joined the CY International video with that of Stanley Enow, which are totally completely different contexts. The context of those videos are completely different, okay? As far as this conversation is concerned, I think that Nigerians should stop being hypocrites as far as this topic is concerned, you know? It's not like Nigerians have not regulated the music consumption in their country over the years. You know, according to a report by NPR in 2015, in South Africa, 55% of the content on radio stations as well as community and public TV has to be local. Nigeria has a law that more than 70% of the music played on radio must be by local artists. Kenyan artists want Kenyan to do the same. Musicians there are pushing for law that will force Kenyan radio stations to default 70% of their playlists to Kenyan music. So explain to me why Cameroon cannot do same, and why are you getting angry at the fact that we are also trying to do that, you know, in our country? You will be ridiculous to think that Cameroonians can demand same. This does not mean we can't collaborate or work together for mutual gain. Don't be entitled Nigerian as if people must play your music. Don't assume that people setting rules about their art in their country means they're jealous of you. It's not jealousy, because I do this show every time and people come and say it's jealousy. The marketing of art has rules, just like we have for importation and exportation of other goods and services. Cameroon government recently said we can't import sugar to Cameroon because we have to make ours home. It does not mean foreign sugar is bad. It means we need to exploit what we have first for the benefit of the Cameroonian people before spending money somewhere else when we can make same thing. You guys should chill on Stanley Enow. As far as this topic is concerned, Nigerians should be the last to point fingers, because I think again, and I know that you people regulate. When it comes to scale of preference and when it concerns Nigerians, Nigerian music stop the least. Nigerian artists stop the least. In fact, that is what happens on radio, on media, and public places and stuff. And this is why it's happening in your country. Other Africans are not complaining about it. Don't complain when other Africans want same in their country. Again, before I leave the show, it's important to note that this has nothing to do with the fact that Cameroonians don't want Nigerian music to play, because the 80-20 rule or regulatory rule in our country has nothing to do with Nigerians. Think that this is just some unnecessary, how do I call it? This is an unnecessary flattery. They're flattering itself. The 20 rule has everything to do with foreign music. And yes, it's not specific to Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we had for you as far as this show is concerned. If you have any comments, leave it in the comment section below. And of course, we're ready to share what you think about this show and anything that we need to improve. I'm ready to hear from you. And of course, share this show and follow us on our several social media platforms. Remember to click in that red button below and subscribe if this is your first time, so that when we put out the show, you can be able to get it right exactly when it happens. You know how it is, your ever smiling black boy, Cameroon.
That time we drop because of neck, Jacka Corey made neck, but the history that he